absolutely unsure why I'm doing this. Maybe just an excuse to ramble on about how cool I think Iron Maiden is and has been their entire career. I think they're the coolest heavy metal band to exist. And I just was going to ramble on about the albums, every album, and where I was when I listened to it and what songs I liked the most on it. And so here we go. So the first record that I heard was actually Fear of the Dark, but I'm gonna get to that after. But the first Iron Maiden album, the self-titled one, I actually when I was a kid, I got that album a little later. When I was a kid, probably 15, maybe 14, there was this like mail order CD place called Columbia House, and they used to have this thing where you pay like 11 cents for like 11 CDs. And so I used that. I found that. I was like, holy like, definitely took advantage of it. I did not read. Hold on. So I signed myself up and I got 11 CDs. And it was cool. I liked it. And so I decided, well, I'm going to sign up my dad as well and then get 11 free CDs. And I did that. And I then signed up my brother, who was about 4 years old at that time. And then I signed up my sister, who was probably 2 years old at that time. And I got a whole whack load of CDs, and the Iron Maiden first album was one of them. I did not read the fine print. The deal of the thing is that you have to buy like 6 more CDs in 6 months at full price. I didn't do that. My parents got a huge bill in the mail. I got in a lot of trouble for it. And thankfully, they actually got out of the whole thing. I don't know how. Probably something to do with two of the people being like 2 and 4 years old. But I did get a whack load of CDs. My parents were really pissed off at me. It was a jerk thing to do, but I was not entirely the most aware of my actions and what the consequences really were when I was a kid. So the first Iron Maiden album, obviously, I think Paul Di'Anno is an awesome singer. Back then, was an incredible singer. I think he was cool as hell. He had this awesome punk attitude, which I came from punk music, so I was really glued to that when I heard Paul Di'Anno later on, because I heard Bruce Dickinson first. But when I got into the Paul Di'Anno stuff, this album, I was probably 16, 15, 16, somewhere around there. And I fucking loved it. I thought it was the coolest thing ever. I thought it was amazing. And I thought Paul Di'Anno was so damn cool. And, Prowler is an amazing tune. His voice, I can't sing like him or anything, but it's awesome. Prowler is an amazing tune. Remember Tomorrow was also a very decent tune. It wasn't my favorite song because I was so young. I was kind of looking for everything that was aggressive, So, but Remember Tomorrow is still a very good song. I think the entire album is a good record, and I think that it's very rare for Iron Maiden to even have a bad song. I think I can't play any of the music on here, so I have my guitar. I know some of the riffs. So Running Free, I think, is one of the coolest tunes ever. We always had this joke version with Skullfist years ago when we were in our 20s. We would make these jokes about doing a cover band after a Skullfist concert, and we just turned all the songs about drinking. So Running Free was always drinking free, and we just thought it was funny with the Got 16, pickup truck, out of money, out of luck, got nowhere to call my own, hit the gas, here I go, yeah, I'm drinking free, yeah, oh, I'm drinking free, I'm drinking free, yeah, oh, I'm drinking free, spend the night, na-na-na. I love that song. It's a great song, but it's now become drinking free to me. So obviously Phantom of the Opera, I think, is a super rad tune. It was so intricate when I was a kid, and I could not figure out how to play it. I never did learn how to play it, so I'm not going to play it here. But awesome tune and super weirdly written, especially for the time. It was very weirdly written in such an interesting way, and a lot of off timing things and these weird phrasing and stuff. It was just totally a great song. I think Transylvania is one of the coolest instrumental songs ever with a fucking. Awesome song. Years later, I heard a cover of it that I actually thought was pretty cool. Was by Iced Earth. I can't remember what album it was. Something like The Horror or something like that. And it was a really cool cover. And I thought it was great. And the drummer was doing a lot of the phrasing with the guitars, so he was always following the guitars. I thought it was kind of a cool idea. And another note is Clive Burr plays really good on this record. I think he plays really good on Killers, but he plays good on this record. So I think Strange World was also a good track, decent. I wasn't like the best, but it was a good track, and it was weird, and it was really good. I kind of skipped that song when I was a kid, but when I got older, I started liking it. Same with Charlotte the Harlot. I liked Charlotte the Harlot, but it didn't do anything for me at that time. So it's a good track, though. Oh, you would gone insane if you saw what I saw. Now I've got to live for sanctuary from the law. Awesome tune, too. Great fucking rockin' tune. The title track, Iron Maiden, I covered when I was a kid in my old band called 30 Years Too Late. And we did a terrible job. I have recordings of it, which are just terrible. And I remember we played it at a performance concert at a high school once, and the singer didn't show up. He didn't come. He chickened out, and I had to try and sing it. I didn't sing at the time, and I butchered the hell out of it. We did that in Aces High, and I butchered both of them terribly. But funny is that Skullfist used to cover Iron Maiden in the early days, and we had kind of a bit more upbeat version of it. And at the time, I was trying to hit every high note I possibly could in the song. Before Casey joined Skullfist, actually, he was in another band called Sonic Shock. And I talked about the story about when I met him, he was 16, I was 19, maybe 20. And I was sitting in my house with my friends. We were all sitting around, and these people just walked in the door of the house, and they had beer and booze, and they were like, hey, and a bunch of heavy metal dudes, and literally me and Kenny Shred at the time were sitting there like, hey man, what's up? Like, no one said like, what the fuck are you doing in my house? Like, no one said that. We just were like, hey. And then they're like, yeah. So they just kind of came in and started hanging out, and it was Casey's band, Sonic Shock. And I didn't know that this other guy that was playing in Skullfist at the time, a guy from BC, his name was also Johnny, not Johnny Nesta, but and he had invited them over. So anyways, they kind of stood around. We just talked for a couple minutes, and then finally I was like, who the hell are you guys? And then he explained it to me, and then other Johnny came, and he's like, oh yeah, these guys, they told him to come over to party tonight, and we're like, okay. So we hung out with them. They stayed for, I think they came again. I don't know if they stayed for 2 nights that time, but yeah, we got really drunk. We partied all night, and in my kitchen, there was 2 sinks. One was empty, and one was full of clean dishes. Can you guess which one Casey decided to puke in? Fucking guy. And so later on, we played a gig with them at this, it was a strip club called Baby Dolls, I think. And this is early 2007, maybe 2008 maybe. And they played before us, and they played 2 cover songs. And their 2 cover songs were Cat Scratch Fever and Iron Maiden. And no fucking lie, those were also the 2 cover songs that we were going to play. and they had no idea. Like we weren't that super close. Like we were talking about these kinds of things, and like no one was talking on the internet back then. And so yeah, they played the exact same songs that we played, and one of them, Iron Maiden and Cat Scratch Fever. But yeah, Iron Maiden was a great fucking song. Oh well, wherever you are, Iron Maiden gonna get you, no matter how far. It's gonna blow when you're dead above my head. Want You for Dead. A really good song. Amazing album. The first record. I love Paul Di'Anno. And first record is totally a flawless record to me. Okay, so I'm talking about Iron Maiden Killers. Killers is, I liked the production on the first record better. I think the production on the first one was better. This one was still good though, and this album I like a lot. Not for its catchiness, for its kind of, I think it's like prime Paul Di'Anno for me. I was like, Paul Di'Anno sounds awesome on this record for me. It's like extra kind of reverb and delay on his voice, but like, I just like his attitude on this one. I think he's got a cool, like, kind of fit into it a bit better on Killers. I think it's totally a punkish album for sure. Clive Burr's killer drummer. Just so you know, I'm just rambling on about these. I'm not writing down things of what to say. So if I miss shit, I miss shit, you know. And I keep moving stuff around in my place, and so every video is probably gonna be a little bit different. So, or every album. Clive Burr really kicks ass on this. His hands are really fast. He's got fast fucking hi-hats, and I thought it was really sick. He sounds good. I almost really like consider him like a little bit of a punk drummer too. Like I think he was kind of going for that almost. You know what I mean? Like, and obviously Paul Di'Anno was going for the punk thing, and I love it. I love, like I said, I love Paul Di'Anno. Guy's amazing. So this album I don't think is really catchy. Obviously Wrathchild's good, Ides of March, good intro and shit. Murders in the Rue Morgue is a great song. But I feel like when I was a kid I listened to this album so many damn times that I don't ever really go back and listen to it. The only song I do go back and listen to is Purgatory. And that's one of my favorite Iron Maiden songs ever. I fucking love that song. Please take me away, so far away. But I don't have the guitar because I honestly don't know how to play any of this record. And yeah, it's a sick record. I got it on, I believe I picked up this tape. Sorry, it was a CD. I got this CD burnt. A guy gave it to me burnt. I didn't know much about internet stuff, but a guy had burnt it for me. And I know my old stereo wouldn't play it, but my other stereo would play it. I remember that. I didn't know a whole fucking lot even about burnt discs back then. Like I didn't know anything. And I was a kid. I mean, like, so, you can rag me out for having a burnt CD back then, but living in, 10 hours north of Toronto in a place of 3,000 people, I mean, it was pretty tough finding a CD of Iron Maiden anyway. Although in Timmins there was a music shop. So this is a great record. I like this record. I love Paul Di'Anno. I think he's a fucking badass dude, and I like his attitude. I think he's it's almost a bit of a shithead, and I think in a good way. I think in a good way he is. And Genghis Khan's a good track. Another Life's Alright. I mean, it's not really like a catchy album. You know what I mean? I didn't think so. First one had a lot of like vocal hooks and a lot of vocal melodies, like catchy vocal melodies. This one doesn't, but Purgatory is an incredible song, and I think one of Iron Maiden's best songs. Killer's a good track. I mean, I've heard it so many times, it's hard to... Drifter's decent too, but like I said, for me, Purgatory. Album art was sick too. I mean, obviously. I don't want to ramble on too much, because after I realized this first album, I ramble on a lot, and it's going to wind up being an hour and a half long video, which Iron Maiden fans probably be into. I could listen to anybody talk about Iron Maiden. I love Iron Maiden. And yeah, so Killers was a great album. Sick. I mean, you can't go wrong, right? It's got some punk stuff, Cloudburst slaying it. Guitar solo wise, I think Dave Murray and Adrian Smith for me were never shredders, were never even really like dudes that played super memorable guitar solos, you know? They didn't. They kind of stuck to the pentatonic stuff, and it worked fine. It worked absolutely fine. But I was never a huge fan of their solos. I was always a fan of their riffs, obviously the melodies, the harmonies. I think Iron Maiden is that. And Iron Maiden isn't a guitar solo band, Iron Maiden, but for guitar players. It's not really a guitar solo band, although Yannick Gears later did do some pretty cool stuff. But for me, it was mostly about their songwriting and, of course, the double guitars and the catchy leads. They came up with fucking incredibly good catchy leads. So although they stuck to pentatonic guitar solos, kind of kept it a little bit mellower, that's not a bad thing in any way. I feel like I'm almost crapping on it, but I'm not. It's not a bad thing. It fits with Iron Maiden. It's a part of Iron Maiden, and their leads and catchy melodies that they come up with is far fucking incredible. So before I dig myself a hole any further, Iron Maiden Killers is an incredible album. And listen to Purgatory. It's sick. Okay, talking about Number of the Beast. My biggest question regarding this record would be, how many people would you be willing to kill to hear Paul Di'Anno sing Number of the Beast? That has always been my main question here. How many people would we kill to hear what Paul Di'Anno would have done with this record? Bruce Dickinson's awesome, obviously. Love him. But I would have loved to hear Paul at least sing this record. Actually wouldn't have mind hearing Paul sing Fear of the Dark too, because Bruce really roughs his voice up on Fear of the Dark there. So with the blah stuff. Number of the Beast is a good record. I don't know where I got this CD from. Honestly, I don't remember. I know I had it. I don't know where I got it. I used to have a whole bunch of vinyl and CDs and tapes and shit. And when I was in my late 20s, I had this brain fart where I had to get rid of everything that I owned, and I couldn't own stuff and only had the necessities and all these things. And so that's a long story on why that happened. But so I gave them all away, and I won't ever own vinyl again. I own only my favorite rock records actually at the moment. But but when I had the CD, I don't know where I got it. I think I gave it to I gave most of my stuff to Andrew Sarunas actually. So if you're seeing this, it was you. I think you came and picked up a bunch of stuff. But anyways, so I don't remember where I got the CD. I have no idea. I was probably 16. I'm guessing 16 probably. Right around the time where I was like obsessed with Maiden. Bruce is awesome. I love Samson. I didn't hear Samson until my my mid 20s, I think. Samson has some incredibly good stuff. Communion is one of the best songs I've ever heard in my life. Earth Mother is an incredibly good song. That Shock Tax, I think, was a great record. And of course, they got Nico McBrain. I wonder, because they got Bruce from Samson, I wonder why they didn't get Thunderstick. That's my question. Why didn't you get Thunderstick from Samson? And check out Thunderstick. He's a pretty crazy dude. He had the mask and a cage. It was definitely a pretty cool gimmick at the time. Anyway, so Bruce Dickinson rules on this record, obviously. He ruled in Samson too, though. Fucking kicked ass in Samson. Got rid of the stash, but so this is a really good record. Of course, we had that whole Satanism thing. The people with the media stuff. I honestly don't give a shit about any of that. But it's a good record. It has some really good songs on there. I don't like Invaders. I do not like that song. Invaders! No, it's not a song I'm into. I consistently my entire life just skip that track. Children of the Dam, obviously great fucking song. Yeah. Children of the Dam. Children of the Dam. Children of the Dam. awesome tune. If you heard, Sebastian Bach does a pretty cool version of that song. I feel like he intentionally tried to hold all of his notes longer than Bruce does on this album, to a point where it's a bit excessive, but he does do a pretty good version of it. And Chillin' Dan, incredible song. My favorite song on this record, I think, is actually Prisoner. Prisoner is fucking, I don't know if it's in this key or here, but fucking amazing. Oh, by the way, Nico McBrain slays. I think he also has incredibly awesome hands, but in a different way than Clive Burr did. I think Nico McBrain had awesome dynamics in his fills, and he had great fucking drum beats, which you hear later on in records. But he's got great fucking hands. His what do you call it there? His rhythm and his fucking feeling on how he's hitting his notes on his toms is great. Dynamics. His dynamics totally rock. He kicks ass on this record. And Clive Burr, incredible drummer, but with Nico McBrain, it was like, you're fine with it. You're like, oh shit, you know what? This guy kicks ass too, and it was totally good. And his, I don't know if it was true or not, but he refused to play 2-foot bass drum. He refused to do double kick pedal, and he kicks ass. You don't even miss it. He's fine. Yeah. So, anyways, Prisoner, amazing song, obviously. It was my dad showed me that song. I can't remember how, maybe on a cassette. And then ended up with a CD, but when I heard Prisoner, I really liked it. It was a sick song, and the fucking obviously. I don't know. Okay, maybe I don't know that good. I'm on the run. I killed 2 weeks. Okay, I don't know that song very well, but great fucking song anyway. 22 Acacia Avenue, not a huge fan of that one either. Number of the Beast, I actually am not even really, I never really thought that was a great song. I get it why it's a hit and everybody, sings along with it and shit, but I don't know. I wasn't a huge fan of that track. Run to the Hills either. I was never really a huge fan of it. It's a good sing-along. I get it why it exists. Totally good hits for them and shit. Great tracks. But I wasn't a huge fan of it. But for me, actually, the main song, Gangland's alright, but Hallowed Be the Name, an incredible song. I also first heard that song on a skate video, which was Welcome to Hell, Toy Machine. Jamie Thomas skates to it. And was totally stoked on that. But I think I knew I might have had the CD before I had seen the video for it, because I'm pretty sure, I already knew Iron Maiden. I already knew the track before, but it was a really good video, and I liked that guy a lot when I was a kid skateboarding. I don't remember how to play much of it though. When the prince comes to read me the left rights, take a look to the bow of the map of a world that has gone very wrong for me. Right? Yeah. Yeah. Hallowed be the name. Oh, yeah. I don't know these songs very well. But it's an awesome song. I remember in grade 9, I had to do it was an English class, and you had to pick a song and dissect the lyrics or whatever, and I picked Hallowed Be Thy Name actually. And that's it's a great album. I think there's a couple songs that I really like on the record, but it's not like my favorite record or something like that. But it's good. I can't think of anything else about that record, and I'm happy that this has only been 7-8 minutes of going on an album, so I'm on a good track of keeping fuck. Okay, Peace of Mind, really cool record for the first half. Last half of the record I was not a huge fan of as a kid. Peace of Mind I started listening to young. I think I got it before Number of the Beast as well. I had the CD. I can't remember where I got it. It might have been that Columbia House thing again. But me and my friend Ty McCauley, who was a very phenomenal guitar player when we were kids. He was 15 and I could play fucking tons of really good stuff. I just killed a mosquito. They're dicks. And Ty Mac was so good, and we used to love this record. And I don't know if we both had the CDs or something, but we started our first band together. He was the lead guitar player, which is called 30 Years Too Late, and we started that band together. And one of the songs we always wanted to cover was Flight of Icarus. And we used to jam it out in his room all the time, little pocket amps or little, mini cube amps or whatever. And we used to laugh so much about Flight of Icarus, where Bruce does that. He just is like a in the fucking track there, and we used to just laugh our brains out. I remember, I think we used to leave messages for each other on the phone, our answering machines. Like I remember one time I left him a message on his phone playing a song. I can't remember what song it was. I think it was a Megadeth riff. And, he heard the message. It was like, oh, shit, he learned that song. Like, fuck. And we used to kind of it was almost like a little bit of a competition on our guitar playing. But I was mostly a rhythm guy, and he was fucking flying on his leads, and he was playing Pantera riffs, and he was getting into Pantera solos and stuff. He learned, I think he learned the Yitz Jam when we were kids, and by Dream Theater, and he was a phenomenal player. And I knew we had our first band together, and we were together for a while. He later on went and started a different band after we split. I wanted to go more kind of heavy metal. He got really heavy into like Slayer and thrash and stuff. And so we split, and he had his own band. I had my band. And actually half of the guys were always like in both bands at different times. And but anyways, this record, Where Eagles Dare, this is my perfect example of why Nico McBrain has awesome fucking toms, man. I don't know how to play this song. I have no idea. No idea. But awesome fucking tune. Totally great song. Revelations, good song too. I have no idea how to play it. Great track. It's a solid track. Revelations is a solid track. Flight of Icarus is a kick-ass track. His eyes were ablaze. See the madman in his gaze. Oh, fly on your wings like an eagle. Oh. I don't know it. I'm honestly, I said, man, I did not rehearse anything for this video. I didn't write anything down. I just look at the record and just remember shit from it. So I'm not fucking trying to get all, I don't know, don't start mocking my ability to play Maiden tracks here. I don't know them that well. But Die With Your Boots On is a sick track. I think it's totally such a kick-ass track on that record, man. It's just fucking cool. Trooper's a great song, obviously. Trooper, I think, was more... it was pretty quick to become like you heard it too many times, you know what I mean? It's like I don't know if you're a Motley Crue fan and you like Shout at the Devil. I mean, how many times are you gonna hear that song and still like it, you know? I don't know. But yeah, Trooper's a good song. I mean, as I said, I heard it so many times. It's hard to have an opinion on it anymore. But when I did hear it when I was a kid, of course, the fucking leads that's the kind of shit where I'm like, man, yeah, Dave Murray, they're good fucking guitar players are just kicking ass. And now I'm afraid to check if it's actually Adrian Smith on there. Let's check real quick. Because I thought he left. I don't know how to check. Fuck it. If it's Adrian Smith, I feel like it is Adrian Smith, but. Anyways, the leads kick ass. That's actually one solo that I think is a good solo too, like a good, catchy solo. And I think it's Dave Murray that's doing it. He did do fast fucking. Like he always had fucking fast. Like he always did that with the hammer on stuff nice and he did those really good. And but yeah, that's a good solo actually. That's it. There's a few Maiden solos where I'm like, that's a fucking sick solo versus being like a good solo. There's a couple that really stand out to me. Yeah, great track. Still Life, it's all right. Quest for Fire is all right. Sun and Steel is all right. To Tame a Land is all right. I mean, they're all right. They're not bad songs. They're not amazing songs. They're not hugely memorable. listen to this record as a kid, I'd usually listen to the first couple songs. I'd listen up to the Trooper usually, and then I would, yeah, I mean, it's good, just not. You got when I was a kid, I had fucking every album to choose from, so I was always picking the stuff that was the cream of the crop for me on the Maiden records. But Peace of Mind is a good album. It's a very good album. And Die With the Boots On, I think, is the win for me, actually. I just think that song's so cool, man. It's just awesome. I think that's it on that record. Is there anything else about it? No, I can't think of anything else. But man, we seriously used to laugh our ass out. I hope that Ty somehow happens to see this video, because he'll know right away. He'll probably, right when Peace of Mind comes on, he'll be like, is he going to do the shit? So, really good record. Wow, pretty good record. It's a good record. It's good. Yeah, it's a good record. Okay, I'm gonna do this next one quick. Well, I shouldn't do this quick. I shouldn't say that at all. But I'm gonna do it now, and then I'll do the rest tomorrow. So I got some more time. I'm doing this in between working and shit. Powerslave is stupidly good. Like, this is prime. This is prime Iron Maiden. This is like totally good Iron Maiden. This is absolutely like, this is cream of the crop. I didn't have a CD of this. I had the tape. My dad had the vinyl. So I didn't listen to the vinyl much. I usually listened to the tape when I was a kid. I had the vinyl years later. Gave it away to Sarunas. Pretty sure that was in it, unless it was Kenny that grabbed it. I'm not sure. But Powerslave was sick as shit. I mean, obviously, Aces High is dumb good. I told you we covered that song when I was a little kid. I did a terrible version of it. I'm not going to show anybody that. So at school, I tried to sing it because the singer didn't show up. That's one of their songs there. Yeah, just obviously Aces High is actually not a song that I can still hear that song and love it. And I seen Iron Maiden in 2001. I was in grade 10. I hitchhiked to Toronto with my other friend. His name was Zach as well. He was my drummer for 30 years too late, actually. And we were buddies our whole lives, most of our lives. Even in Toronto, we were buddies back then. And anyways, we hitchhiked to see Iron Maiden. We lied to our parents. We had a guy come and pick us up at my house and then pretend he was driving us to Toronto. And he drove us to the highway, and then we hitchhiked to Toronto. And I could go on for an hour or so about all the weird shit that happened on that trip. I don't know why I'm talking about that. There's nothing to do with Powerslave. But we seen Iron Maiden. I paid $30 for my tickets. Heavy metal was really dead at that point. We seen them at Molson Amphitheater. I seen them with Dio and Motorhead. And this really great band from I think Windsor. They were from Windsor, or were they? Yeah, I'm pretty sure they were from Windsor. Called Betrayer, and they were an incredibly good band. And when I was a little kid getting into heavy metal, it was Betrayer and Goathorn that I thought were super awesome. Betrayer was just so gnarly, and they don't play anymore. The singer's name was Jeff Klingbeil, I think, and he was a really good singer. So you could check out Betrayer. And anyways, they played that gig, and seen Iron Maiden then. And when they played Aces High, I fucking cried. That's what I was getting at. When they played Aces High, I cried. It was, yeah. Iron Maiden is obviously the longest girlfriend I've ever had in my life and will ever have in my life. But Aces High is incredible, still incredible. Live version is good. Live After Death, anyway, that was great. 2 Minutes to Midnight, good track. I don't even really know how to play any of these songs, actually, now that I think about it. But, yeah, 2 Minutes to Midnight, great track. Lost for Words, not bad. It's pretty good. Flash of the Blade, fucking awesome. Duelist, it's alright. Duelist is okay. I mean, I would say, like, Lost for Words and Duelist are, like, the songs that I'm not, like, super into, but are still good tracks. But the whole vibe of this record and the sound of this record is really good. I forgot to mention that Peace of Mind also had a really good sound to it. Sound was really good. This record has a really great sound to it. Oh, so this tape that I had of this record, I used to listen to it. I wore the tape out, actually. I wore the tape out in my Walkman. I used to skateboard to it all the time. One time I was riding down the road at nighttime. I was skating. It was late. It was dark, and Powerslave came on. It has that intro on the tape. There's this intro, kind of creepy sounding. It creeped me out so much that I almost bailed off my board. I almost fell off my board because I was just getting creeped out and I wasn't paying attention, and I hit like a crack, but I didn't. I didn't lift with it. Like when you're on a board, you hit a crack, you just lift over, but I didn't. And anyways, I almost bailed, and I love that tape. And like I said, I wore that tape out, and it might even still be at my dad's place. I have no idea. But the album is obviously stupid good. Back in the Village is also really good. I don't know how to play it, but I fucking I don't know how to play it, but I fucking love that track. Back in the Village is sick. Powerslave is one of the best drum beats I ever heard ever. The fucking what he's doing on the hat with the fucking. The drum beat to that is so good, man. Nico McBrain slaying it, just slaying it. It's really great. Yeah, I absolutely love this record. Of course, Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner is insane. That's insane. What they did with that song was crazy. That was Steve Harris going mad, reading every damn book he could find, and he just, I don't know what happened there. He was just like, you know what, man, I want to do the whole thing. I want to do the whole thing, man. Every poem he can come, I want to get all of the pieces of the poem in there musically. And I think it's totally cool, man. It's a great tune. And it's very hard for me to listen to a 9-minute song or 10, 12, 13. I don't know. It's probably well over 10. It's probably like 12, 13 minutes or something. But it's a sick track. Ryan Mansion is sick. Powerslave is sick. Back in the Village is sick. Aces High is fucking sick. 2 Minutes to Midnight is sick. They're all great tracks. Real fucking powerhouse tracks, I think. And I love this record. And it sounds really good. And the art is obviously, could argue it might be Iron Maiden's coolest artwork to me. But, I mean, that's, I don't know. I mean, No Prayer for the Dying had really, really good art too. And it's one of my favorite records. But, yeah, this record is sick as hell. And I don't know. So I'm not going to say what my favorite Maiden album is because it's not possible. But it's a really good record anyway. And this is prime Iron Maiden. And it fits, you know what I mean? Like, every song fits together. Everything works so fucking good together. And, man, I like it a lot. Okay, that's all. Here's some more. Yeah, cracking a bubbly beer. Shit's like 20% alcohol, bro. Drink like 10 a day. Which is water. So, moving on, we're talking about Somewhere in Time. This album's fucking perfect. This album is goddamn perfect. This record is perfect. It is a perfect record. I had the cassette. I used to listen to it while I showered all the time. And I would take these epically long showers because every song on this album is like epically long. Well, perfectly long. 7 minutes, 7, 8 minutes. Album's fucking perfect, dude. Album's perfect. Somewhere in Time, flawless, unbelievably good record. It is the best record of Iron Maiden, maybe. I don't know. Like I said, I don't want to say that. I have the albums that I like. I got a handful of records that I think are the best ones. I had this tape when I was a kid. I don't know where I got the tape. I have no idea. Used to crank it, skateboarding in my headphones all the time. Same with, the last record, Powerslave. This album is so good. This album is goddamn perfect. I love this record incredibly. And anybody who says... nobody would even say it. Nobody would say they don't like this record. You can't not like this record. If you like Iron Maiden, you love Somewhere in Time. It's an amazing album. Caught Somewhere in Time, amazing song. Perfect. Wasted Years, poppy, yes, still a good track. There's that funny live video of them playing Wasted Years on a television show, but they pre-recorded they were playing the CD, so they were supposed to mock along, but then they switched instruments and started dicking around, and Adrian Smith is the only guy who was still pretending to play the song. That was really funny. Which now tells me, yes, Adrian Smith was still in the band. He was in the band for a while. I'm guessing Yannick probably showed up for Fear of the Dark, probably. Anyways, Album is perfect. Wasted Years, good song. Sea of Madness, still a good song. Incredibly good song. Lug It, fucking amazing album. Heaven Can Wait, poppy as hell. Heaven Can Wait. It's a weird song, but it's still a good song. It's a great fucking song. I would say if any song didn't fit, it would be this song. This would be the song I say didn't fit, but it's still a good song, and it's fine being there. Loneliness of the Long Distance Runner is an incredibly good song. One of their best, I'd say. It's so good. Weird song title. That he didn't try to trim it down from the book. When I moved out here into the bush, I listened to this album my whole life. I can listen to this album since I was a kid up until now. I will listen to this album all the time. It's an awesome record. And this album is like, well, obviously a bit more progressive, blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't want to really start breaking down songwriting and crap like that. I just want to talk about the basic surfer dude attitude, Loneliness is an amazing song. When I moved out here in the bush, the lady who used to live here like 40 years ago, well, I lived here recently, but they built the house like 50 years ago, 40 years ago, something like that. They left a bunch of books in my bedroom that I picked, and one of the books was The Loneliness of the Long Distance Runner. So I read it, and it's a great book. I read it about 4 years ago, and it's a great book. It's got a really cool attitude to it, and the main character guy has totally a perfect attitude, I think, and the ending was perfect, and it's a great book. And I don't know how, I always thought I should look back at the lyrics of this song and see how much it follows. I didn't, but Stranger in a Strange Land, that's a weird track, but it's still a good song. Weird track, but it's really good. Deja Vu, same thing. Good track, very good track. Alexander the Great, obviously incredible. The whole album is super good. If you're gonna pick an Iron Maiden album to listen to, that's the one. That's the one. It is incredibly good. I think it's just written awesome. It's epic as shit. They drew out everything. Everything is drawn out. So when you do the lead goes longer. We're doing 8 bars instead of 4, and it's just everything is kicking ass. And I really like that a lot of the hooks are like, how do you make a hook out of the loneliness of the long distance runner? But he did, and he did it perfectly. The album's amazing, and honestly, I don't even need to say a whole lot about this record. It's fucking perfect. Listen to it, drink some bubbly, blah, 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 blah. Somewhere in Time, incredible, perfect record. I'm still sitting here, same thing. I'm going to do Seventh of a Son, or Seventh Son of a Seventh Son. I'll do it quick because I think this is actually, aside from a couple of really new recent albums, this is actually my least favorite record. I never picked this up on CD. I never owned this album. My friend had the CD, listened to it at his place, and I never wanted to get it. I like it. It's okay. It's for Iron Maiden. It's not a great album to me. I know a lot of people really like this record, but for me, I'm not really into it. Moonchild's okay. It's all right. Infinite Dreams, decent. It's decent. Can I Play With That is a great song. Evil That Men Do is a great song. Seventh Son of the Seventh Son, I'm not even really huge into that track. Prophecy, I'm not really huge into it. I think it's okay. Clairvoyant, decent track. Only the Good Die Young was a decent track too. I've only listened to this record maybe 10 times in my life, and I think it's okay. It's all right. I don't honestly really have a lot even to say about this record other than it's pretty good. A couple of the tunes are kicking ass, but would never say it's like a strong record at all. But it's still a good record. Like if it wasn't Iron Maiden that made this record, it'd probably be a lot of bands' best records. For sure. But Iron Maiden to me is so goddamn good that they're going to have an album that I'm not crazy about, But I think it's good, but I don't have anything significant even really to say about this record. I never even bought it. Didn't buy it. Didn't own it. Probably will never own it. I'll be 70 years old and I probably still won't buy this record. And if I do, it'll be out of irony. Not because it's a bad record, because it's just not the best one for me. I feel like I'm gonna get a lot of hate about that, but hate on. Just I will take the comment threats. So bring them on. All right, I'm sitting up for this. This is No Prayer for the Dying, man. And this record, let me minimize this a bit here. This record kicks ass. This record hugely kicks ass, dude. This is totally kick ass. It was 1990. Now, why I would say Iron Maiden is the best heavy metal band ever to exist, and if you argue with me, you can suck it. This is 1990. Everybody starts switching. Close to it anyway. This is where everybody starts switching their styles, trying new things. I mean, it's a little bit early, but it is around where the transition began. And the transition started happening now, early 90s, 91 or 1990, 93. That's where everything starts getting wonky. And these guys did this record, and it kicks ass, man. It's total kick-ass record. Tail Gunner, solid-ass track. This is one of the first times I've actually really... I'm not a huge Iron Maiden lyric guy. I get it. They're doing what they do. It's great. It is great what they do. But it never hit me. You know what I mean? Lyrically, Maiden lyrics never hit me. But Holy Smoke, I think were brilliant lyrics. Brilliant lyrics in Holy Smoke. Yeah, I could play the song fucking... you know what? I just don't feel like turning that all on. Holy Smoke, one of the best Maiden tracks ever. I used to play that riff over and over, the lick, or the lead, all the time, dude. It's such a good track. It's so good. It's catchy, man, but it's just rad. When the lyrics kick so much ass. And the track No Prayer for the Dying is another one with lyrics that I thought were really good. I think I like the medieval stuff. I like the ancient stuff and the historical stuff. It's all really great. I mean, but it just, it doesn't do anything to me emotionally. That's what I mean. It's good, but I'm not getting any emotion. But around this, those two tracks really did it for me, man. Lyrically, just kicked ass. And this album's a great fucking album. And I think it's cool as hell. I think The Assassin was also a really good track. Not a huge fan of 4 and 5. Public Enemy #1, Face 1, nah. They're all right. But Assassin kicked ass. The Assassin. Run Silent, Run Deep. I can't even... Yeah, that song's all right, too. Hooks in You is kind of fun. That was like a weird track. It almost sounded like a Bruce Dickinson solo song or something, right? Like, kind of reminded me almost of like a heavier version, a darker version of Tattoo Millionaire or something, But it's a good song. Bring Your Daughter to the Slaughter. Yeah, it's almost... But it's good. It's a great fucking track. Bring your daughter to the slaughter. Let her go. Sick. And Mother Russia is fucking gnarly. I mean... I love those beats. Also, really badass version of that beat was that Blind Guardian track. What was that song called again? I'm going to check. I'm going to pause this and check. Really good. Blind Guardian, Bright Eyes. I love that beat. Mother Russia's so heavy too. Just insanely heavy. This is a really kick-ass record. So the CD I heard first from my dad. He had Fear of the Dark and he had No Prayer for the Dying. Fear of the Dark's the first one that I ever heard of Maiden. I'll get onto that. No Prayer for the Dying, man. I I just listened to that CD so much when I was a kid, dude. Still go back to it sometimes and listen to it. And that record, especially Holy Smoke, massively fueled, I would say, had a good significant portion of my anti-religious crusade in my late teens and early 20s. Though it's not entirely anti-religious, it's I don't even know if I could say that on YouTube. Whatever, who cares? And yeah, man, just a kick-ass record, totally kick-ass. That definitely fueled a lot of skateboarding for me when I was a kid too, man. I love that CD, and I used to bring it to school all the time. And my buddy Ty, we loved that CD, man. We loved Iron Maiden, and this album was massive, massive contribution to our childhood aggression. Absolutely. And I love this record. This is one of the best Maiden records for me, 100%. And it just kicks ass. It absolutely kicks ass. Now we're getting into the cream of the crop here. This also cream of the crop. Same thing, No Prayer for the Dying. Fear of the Dark. Fear of the Dark is flawless. Fear of the Dark is perfect. I got a half-finished tattoo of the album on my arm. I got that when I was 17. I remember I showed up to class, third period, physics, grade 11, I think. And the teacher seen it. It was just fresh. And he was like, "What's that?" Tattoo. And he's like, "You got a tattoo?" I was like, "Yeah." He was very non-approvingly about that. He was actually a nice guy. He hated me. We had an agreement in class that literally the agreement was, I won't be a dick. Just leave me alone. I just sat in that physics class with my headphones all the time. I didn't do nothing. I actually got my report card on my other computer, and I remember I got like 23% in that class, which is funny because I got older and now I'm kind of into like astrophysics. I mean, just learning about it. Obviously, I don't know the math or anything, but anyways, yeah, this and No Prayer for the Dying was powerhouse for me, man. That was fueled, like I said, man. This stuff fueled a lot of my aggression and gave me a lot of confidence in who I was when I was a kid. There's no metalheads, like a couple random guys, but for the most part, it's pretty much just me. And because when I got a little bit older, there was a couple guys that kind of appeared, kids that turned into metalheads, but there was nobody around really. Metal was dead at this time when I was a kid, and and of course, what is this, 90 something, 92? I'm guessing 92. Now this is prime. This is prime. Why Iron Maiden is the best band in the world. They didn't change. You can't say that you say that for very goddamn few bands. And almost next to no heavy metal or hard rock bands. Everyone changed. Everyone changed their style, tried to fit with whatever was getting cool, whatever was going on. And Iron Maiden didn't. They didn't. They stayed Iron Maiden. Yeah, Bruce is singing a little bit heavier on this one. Be Quick or Be Dead and shit. But no, they didn't change. 92, boom, still Iron Maiden. Heavy as hell. Still dark. Like, it's heavier almost. Well, it is heavier, but it's great. Still Iron Maiden. And like I said, Iron Maiden is the best band in the world. I feel like I'm in an argument right now. Iron Maiden is the best band in the world to me. And I think they just are the best band in the world. Because around this time when all of this started happening and all this stupid crap where people were changing styles because they wanted to try and fit with whatever was going on and blah, blah, blah. They didn't. Iron Maiden's totally stuck it out and they stayed Iron Maiden. And how much pressure they probably had to try and change, I don't know. I'm imagining it was probably a lot of goddamn pressure, though. And they didn't. They stayed Iron Maiden. And I think that very few people, or fucking probably nobody, but a tiny percentage of people in the world could be in a similar situation like that and say, no, eat a dick, bro. I ain't changing. And I think that's awesome. I absolutely, the amount of respect I have for them, just because of this as well. I got mad respect in a lot of different ways for them. But because of this 90s transition and them just saying, fuck you, we're Iron Maiden, fuck off. I can feel my fucking testosterone getting fucking going just talking about it, man. Seriously. This album's awesome. This album's practically perfect. It is, actually, it's pretty much perfect. Be Quick or Be Dead is sick as hell. Wow. Terrible impression. But Be Quick or Be Dead is amazing. The song's so fucking savage. It's awesome. From Here to Eternity, decent. Hell is from here to eternity. Decent track. I thought it was really funny in the cover art of this record. I think it's Nico McBrain, but everybody's wearing a biker jacket and black jeans. And then I think it's Nico McBrain. And there's one dude, and like I said, I'm sure it's Nico. I haven't seen the picture in a while. And like, if I fuck up any of these or I'm like slightly inaccurate, like, dude, whatever. I'm not, like, I don't, I'm I'm not going to go and research everything to make sure I'm a zillion percent accurate. I'm just talking about my experience with Iron Maiden. But you can feel free to bitch at me in the comments. No problem. Yeah, Nico McBrain's not wearing the biker jacket. Everyone's wearing the bikers, but Nico McBrain ain't. He's got like one of those casual leathers on there. I just thought it was funny. I noticed it when I was a kid. When I first heard this record, I was a punk. I was into punk. I was probably about 14. I was punk, skateboarding. And I was playing PlayStation 1, Tony Hawk Pro Skater. I got sick of listening to the music on the game, which the soundtrack's pretty good. But I went through downstairs and went to my dad's CD rack, and I was just trying to pick a random record, a random CD to listen to. 13 maybe? I don't know. I was young. I believe this is before the Columbia House stuff. And I grabbed the CD solely based on how it looked. Oh, that's a cool looking cover. I'm gonna grab that. Didn't know what it was. Didn't listen to Iron Maiden. No idea. It was Fear of the Dark. Album came on, Be Quicker, Be Dead, and From Here to Eternity. It was just on in the background to me. It was just on. I was playing a skateboarding game, and Afraid to Shoot Strangers came on. And when that, about 2 minutes into the song, I don't have a fucking pick. Fucking the Afraid to Shoot Strangers. I'm playing it with a pack of gum. When that came on, no fucking lie, that was the first time I ever got chills from music. That was the first time I ever got a chill. That fucking the goosebumps, the chills. I got the chills from it, man. And I paused the game, and I'm not like I've been saying this for years in like interviews or some shit, and I paused the game and I just sat there. Staring at the speakers. Just listening to it. Feeling this fucking musical chill. Which I don't, as far as I recall, I never had before. I did not know a guitar could sound that great. I did not know that music could do that to me. And no fucking lie, that is literally what I played guitar. I just fucked around on it. I played power chords, punk songs, that type of stuff. And when that happened, that fucking 100% changed my life. I don't really think about it, but thinking about it sitting here, that sorry, I get fucking reflux sometimes, and I got it right now. That massively changed my life. Massively. That unbelievably changed my life. At that point in my life, I wanted to be a skateboarder. That's what I thought I wanted to do. I had just quit hockey maybe a year or two before. Because I honestly, the main reason I quit hockey is because I didn't really get along with my team. That was probably the biggest problem. But I've been so into skateboarding and punk music. And as I said, dude, that absolutely changed my life. Then, I listened. I don't remember what else happened in that scenario. I was listening to the rest of the song, whatever. But at that moment, getting those chills, literally started trying to learn the song not long after. And then started talking with Ty about being in a band together and starting to make music and playing in a band. And I wanted to be a rhythm guy. And I just wanted to write songs and be a rhythm guy. That was my initial intention with music. I never wanted to sing, obviously. You can tell because I'm not that great at it. But this record is literally the record that just fucking absolutely changed my life. It's weird to say. It sounds so corny to say. But this massively just opened something else to me. I was like, holy fuck, I'm walking down this trail. I could totally go down this trail. And then I fucking went down that trail. And then, started a band with Ty, started 30 Years Too Late. I started getting into more guitar stuff and more heavy metal, and it just opened the doors to heavy metal for me. And yeah, so this album obviously is, I owe a very, very large portion of my direction mentally to this record and to that lead in Afraid to Shoot Strangers. It's the fucking best. Fucking the best. Shit makes me like fucking. Oh. Fear's the Key is good. Childhood's End I love. No hope. No lies. Just pain and fear. Wasting Love is a really good song too. I love that song. Fugitive is a good song. It was decent. Chains of Misery, Pretty Poppy is good too. Apparition's alright. You Just Be My Guy, it's a good song. Weekend War is alright too. Obviously Fear of the Dark is a really good song. I like this record a lot too. You can listen to this whole record and it's fine. You listen to it, in one listen and it's good. It works well. Bruce sounds really good. He's got like more edge to his voice, like on the previous record. And yeah, fucking love this record. So massive. I'm sure lots of people could thank Iron Maiden for a lot of things, but I genuinely hate almost everything in the world and don't thank anything for anyone for anything because I'm kind of a dick. But I have to 100% thank you to Iron Maiden for that. Unbelievably. That's that. Don't be hating on Blaze. Blaze is cool, dude. Blaze is cool. He's all right. Yeah, he's not Bruce. He can't sing the way he does, but he's still all right, man. And this is still another example. Yeah, Bruce left. He did, Tattoo Millionaire and Balls to Picasso and stuff. I had that CD when I was a kid. It was pretty good. I can't remember a lot though. Although Tears of the Dragon is a really good Bruce song. I think, I guess they got Blaze because he was also English. And he had kind of a cool voice. Not a huge range, but he had a cool voice. And Blaze was cool, and people were ripping on him and whatever, but Blaze didn't care. Blaze is cool. I'm down with Blaze. And here's another great thing, Iron Maiden still going strong as Iron Maiden, even though it's with Blaze. It's still an Iron Maiden record. Yes, the production is not as intense. I think that's a financial reason. Yeah, it's a good record. I'm not going to name every single song on here because, it's not a great record, but it's got some good songs. Sign of the Cross, good song. Lord of the Flies, really good. We are Lord of the Flies. It's a good song. Man on the Edge, really good, dude. I like that track, man. There's, I like the movie too. What was the movie called, though? It's not called Man on the Edge, is it? Maybe it is called Man on the Edge. Is it Man on the Edge? No. What's his name there? That dude, fucking big bazooka there. It's good. I like that. Yeah, I like that song. Look for the Truth's all right. I mean, the rest of the album is just kind of okay. Like I said, it's not a great Maiden album, but it's okay. And those first 3 songs kick ass. So I think it's totally fine. But I like Blaze. I think Blaze is cool. I think he's got a cool voice. Said, yeah, it's not Bruce, but I still think he's cool. And I had heard that there was a lot of people that wanted to sing an Iron Maiden, including Andre Matos from Engra. It was unbelievable. Matos? Andreas? I can't remember how to say it. The Anger guy. The guy who kicked ass on the Kate Bush cover. I think, so a lot of people tried out or wanted to be an Iron Maiden. I think they picked him maybe because he was a buddy. I don't know. But I still I understand that sentiment of picking someone you're close with versus skill. Because, you got to spend a lot of time with those people, But yeah, I like Blaze and I like Iron Maiden at this time. I think they're totally fine. Although I think the next record's better, but this one was all right. Um, I don't have a lot to say about it. I got this one burnt. This one was also take it easy. This one was burnt as well. Both of these records were given to me burnt. So I just had the CDs. And the same things, I believe, right around the same time as well. I only had the one CD player in my room that would play the burnt CDs. Um, and yeah, I listened to it. Not a lot, but I listened to it. I don't even know if I was smart enough, and I didn't really use the internet. I think I used MSN Messenger before, probably trying to talk to girls or something like that. I don't know. But I think this album's a good record. But I didn't listen to it like constantly. It was not like a huge record for me. I just think it was decent. But those three songs are really good, especially Lord of the Flies. Lord of the Flies is my favorite song on that record, easily. That's all. Now, just one thing to note: the song "Virus." I love that song incredibly. It's one of the coolest leads I think from Iron Maiden. Virus, cool. I used to skip that song. I think it was on Best of the Beast. I used to skip that song because the intro was so long. There's a need for the virus threatening. I used to skip it when I was a kid because for me, my musical her I don't know I was small. I had a very small musical taste as a kid, and slow things were a hard sell for me. I remember trading when I first heard Megadeth. I didn't like Megadeth. It was Wake Up Dead. I didn't like it. It was too heavy. It was too thrashy. It wasn't enough melody for me. I traded that CD. I traded no, and it wasn't that CD that I traded. I think I traded So Far So Good So What. I don't know how I got that CD, but I wasn't huge into it. I traded it for a Def Leppard CD, Pyromania, and to Ty McCauley. I feel like there was an Iron Maiden CD in there, a live one, the Japan one. I think that was in there as well in the trade. I can't remember who got it though. But I remember when I got that Def Leppard CD, it sucked so bad. I hated Def Leppard when I first heard them. Not even a huge Def Leppard. I like old Def Leppard, but this Foolin' obviously kicks ass. Love Bites kicks ass. But that fucking Rock Baby, I can't handle that song. No. But anyways, now we're on Virtual X. So Virus, love that song. I know it was on Best of the Beast. I never knew it wasn't on an album. I don't. Maybe this is the CD that I had burnt. I swear I had both of them though. I don't know, but a friend gave it to me. It was actually Ryan Gamache, I think, is the one who burnt it for me. So this is a really good album though. Future Real's kicking ass. What is real? Future Real. It's kick-ass record. Angel and the Gambler's decent. Lightning Strikes Twice. Love that tune. Lightning strikes twice. I'm just gonna keep doing that. Klansman, I am the Klansman. It's a good track. Really good. When Two Worlds Collide was decent. Educated Fool. I really liked that song actually. And Don't Look to the Eyes of Stranger. I really like too. Don't look to. And even Como Dias, yeah, even that track is a decent track. And I'm actually looking at it in front of me. Yannick Gears helped write that song. I did not know that. I've always known that, obviously, Steve Harris is the guy that's writing almost everything. I knew that my whole life, but I don't know who worked on what songs together. I never. I don't know. I guess it is interesting to me, but I guess nowadays, like I don't know. I just like Iron Maiden, you know. Also, something to note is that if I screw up any of these timelines or something, like sorry, I didn't script any of this. I literally just pull up the record in front of me and just talk about it. So I'm just literally just shooting the crap about it. But this is a good album. I like this record. And as I said, don't hate on Blaze. Blaze is the man. Blaze is cool as hell. I've never listened to any of Blaze's solo stuff, and I feel like I should. But I think he's really cool. And there was some decent live footage too. I remember digging up some stuff on YouTube of Blaze singing with Maiden. He didn't sing the Bruce stuff that great, but I think it was the Evil That Men Do. I seen him do, which is not very good. But when he does this stuff, he's good. Blaze is cool. And That's all I got on this record. Excited about the next one. Okay, I'm going right into the next one. Brave New World. Brave New World. So when it came out, I had asked my dad to drive me to Timmins, which is like the city right beside the small town where I lived, so I can grab the CD. I wanted the CD, and so he drove me to the CD Hotel. The place was called. It was this tiny little record shop. This really cool dude worked there, kind of a big tough guy, and he was a super nice guy though, man, big built dude, and he was super cool. And when he did close down, he ended up giving me a bunch of flags. He gave me a whole bunch of old flags like Wasp, Motley Crue. There was an Iron Maiden one. I think the Iron Maiden one was actually Virtual X or X Factor. I can't remember. But that guy was a super cool dude. He gave them to me because I remember I had this job at one point when I lived in Toronto. I got evicted. I didn't pay my rent. I ended up back in Timmins. And during the winter of that time, for 1 month, I believe, this might have been before I moved to Toronto. I can't really remember. But I fucking tested snowblowers on a lake during the winter. And it was right by my house, so I'd walk to work. And he was doing the same job. And that was when he gave me the flags and shit. That guy was a super cool dude. But this record, when I got it, when I brought the CD home, I could not identify Bruce Dickinson. I didn't know a lot. Like, even at this point, I wasn't really much of an internet dude. And so I remember looking at it, trying to figure out who the fuck Bruce Dickinson was, because he cut his hair. And it took me a while to figure it out. And but this album, to me, is one of the best Iron Maiden albums ever. And the fact that they released this so late in their career was a number 12th studio album. This album is so fucking good. This album is so goddamn, it's beautiful. It is a beautiful record. I'll say it. This record is a beautiful record. It's perfect. I think it's absolutely perfect. The sound of it is really good production, but not too much. Not like too modern or anything like that. It's still very much Iron Maiden. Iron Maiden has always been Iron Maiden, which as I said, I respect them incredibly for. And Wicker Man's a decent song. Wicker Man is a good song. I liked it a lot when I was a kid, but I heard it so many times that I don't listen to it much anymore. Ghost Navigator is a fucking wonderful song. Brave New World, an amazing song. Blood Brothers, so fucking nice. Mercenary is a good song. Dream of Mirrors is a decent song. Fallen Angel was decent. My favorite tracks on this album, though, are Out of the Silent Planet and The Thin Line Between Love and Hate. I think Out of the Silent Planet, the chorus is amazing. It's so fucking good. No Man was good too. But the chorus in The Thin Line Between Love and Hate, where he's heart will fly, so will I forever. Fuck, man, that thing just kicks my ass. There's a song by Avantasia, something I don't give a fuck about roses, where he kind of does he does like the exact same vocal melody. Don't give a fuck for roses. But it's almost the same thing, but The Thin Line Between Love and Hate does it a million times better. But I love those two last tracks. I love fucking Ghost Navigator and Brave New World too. And Blood Brothers is incredible. This whole album is really good, but those are the standout tracks for me. So I was in grade 9, I think, when this album came out. Maybe 10. No, I don't know. I can't figure that out. But I know that there was like no metalheads. There was Donnie, there was Ty, and there was these couple of younger dudes. Alex was a metalhead too. The guys that I played 30 Years Too Late with. Rod, kind of a metalhead. Liked a lot of modern metal, but still a metalhead. And there was a couple of younger kids. Donnie's younger brother. These are guys that I played 30 Years Too Late with. All really cool dudes, and I miss them very much. But especially Donnie. Fucking love that guy. And so I always just, like, my assumption when I was a kid was that, like, heavy metal was, like, it was not popular. It was, like, this kind of, like, a sacred thing. It kind of was. Like, it was, like, a super it was almost like skateboarding. Skateboarding was for punks and metalheads and stoners. That's it. Those are the only kinds of skateboard. And for me, heavy metal was like that, too. It was, like, an absolutely huge outsider thing. And so, but I remember one thing that I remember a lot about this record was that I was in this school. I got I got like semi kicked out of my first high school. They like suspended me for like a month. But in the next month, they were trying to get me to switch schools in a way. But I wanted to switch schools anyway. Um, so like they didn't expel me from the school. They kind of like suspended me for like I think it was like 6 weeks in the next year or something. So I had to switch anyway. But I kind of wanted to. So I ended up at this different school. There was this guy. I can't remember what it was. I just remember a little bit about being in the front of the school, and there was like I don't know what it was, like a fucking meet and greet or something. Man, I was like people walking past each other. I was walking past this guy, and he had a Brave New World sweater on. And I remember seeing that and being like, and right away I was like, dude, it's like fucking cool sweater, man. And he fucking snubbed me off. That I remember being so fucking shocked that this dude snubbed me. And I was like, what do you, like, fuck, what the fuck? And I didn't understand how the guy snubbed me because to me, back then, heavy metal was like a really, like, same with skateboarding. If you seen another skateboarder, you instantly were like, yo, what's up, dude? How's it going? Like, it just was a thing, you know? If you were skating a spot and a guy showed up skating, man, you kind of were bros. It almost was just happened. It was like inevitable. And I always thought that was like that for heavy metal, but that was one of the first times I realized that it didn't matter if somebody liked heavy metal, they can still be a douche. I didn't know that. But this album was around the time as well when I hitchhiked to see Iron Maiden, as I said. I paid $30 for my ticket. It was at the Molson Amphitheater. It was like 1/3 full. Betrayer open, I told you. Funny fact is that I knew Motorhead at the time. A whole bunch of crazy stuff happened on that trip, and I feel like it's, yeah, I don't need to tell you all the weird things that happened when we were hitchhiking and the people that picked us up and stuff. It was a bizarre story. But I did not know Dio at that time. I did not know Dio. I didn't know who Dio was. We watched Dio, and we weren't really into it actually. We just weren't super into it. I was a huge Iron Maiden fan. I liked a bit of Motorhead. I don't know how much Motorhead I knew at that point. Obviously, I knew Motorhead because they were in the Tony Hawk game as well. But I knew some Motorhead. They were really cool. I was like, this band's cool. Reminds me of my punk stuff. It was like good. But when we seen Dio, we had no idea what was going on. We never heard of him. Didn't know nothing about him. And it was years later that not years later, it's probably not much longer after that I heard Dio. And so, anyways, this record I think is a really perfect record. And I do think that it's kind of, man, I love Iron Maiden very much, but I think album-wise, it's downhill from here. No album since then, like the 4 or so now that they put out after this. I've even come close to this record. And I put this record on top with any Iron Maiden record, Somewhere in Time or Powerslave or even Fear the Dark and No Prayer for the Dying. I love this record very much. And I think it was incredibly awesome that they did this. And they were able to, it was 13 or something albums later, come out with something like this that massively kicked ass, man. It was a really, really good record. And my question is, no, yeah, Adrian Smith was back too, because I remember seeing the extra member thing in the fucking photo. There's 6 guys, I guess. And yeah, I just think it's so rad that Adrian Smith, this is as far as I know, apparently Adrian Smith wanted to come back, but they didn't want to get rid of Yannick Gears, so they just said, screw it, man, we're going with 3. Fuck it, why not? I think that is so goddamn cool, and it is also just another reason why Iron Maiden kicks ass and is so goddamn cool. Another thing that I really liked is that Iron Maiden has always never really seemed to give a crap about media coverage or magazines and things like that. And I remember when I seen them the first time, they were making fun of, I can't remember, maybe it was Rolling Stone or something like that. I've seen them 3 times now, but that first time, yeah, I cried. I cried. I could fucking, if you give me a couple beers, I can cry about Iron Maiden easily, So, yeah, I love this album very much. Just quickly to say Dance of Death. I don't have a lot of experience with this record. I listened to it a couple times years ago, and the only songs that I liked were Rainmaker and No More Lies. No More Lies was good, but I was not, Passchendaele's all right, but I'm not huge on this record. I think it's okay, but I think it was kind of really hard to follow up from Brave New World. But And yeah, I remember someone having it in the lunchroom and showing it to me, and I listened to it during lunch in their little Discman, and it was okay. I mean, but I listened to it again, years later, and I went back to it. Probably 6, 7 years ago, I think, and it was okay. It's not the best though, but that I honestly don't have a lot of really important stuff to say about that record for where I was and stuff. A Matter of Life and Death is kind of a similar situation. I had evolved into so much different heavy metal at that point. It was less impactful for me to hear this album. You know, internet is out, and I believe this might have came out when I moved to Toronto. Yeah, 2006. So it came out right before I moved to Toronto for the first time. So I was kind of busy with Shred starting Skullfist and pretended to be a bunch of 19-year-old jackass Motley Crue wannabes or something like that. And but These Colors Don't Run is a really good song. I love that song. Brighter Than a Thousand Suns was pretty good too. I like that. And then there was the Reincarnate, that Benjamin Briggs song was all right too. But I was not a huge on this record though. I think it's good. Art is cool, but wasn't really huge on it. I think it's decent, but These Colors Don't Run I really like. Far away from the band, blah, blah. These colors don't run from cold-blooded war. I don't know how to sing it, but yeah, that was a really good song though. There's no doubt. If anybody, that album, that's a kick-ass tune. But that's pretty much all I got. I mean, that was the time we were all drinking a lot and partying and stomping around, with our little egos and all that crap. So less of an impact on me for sure. I think that's really all I can say about it. So The Final Frontier, 2010. I don't know. Still Iron Maiden. Just not enough, like, not enough good hooks in it for me. Not like super into this record. El Dorado's okay. Mother Mercy is okay. There's a couple things in that Isle of Avalon song that were okay. I haven't listened to this record. I think I've probably listened to this record. I don't know, not very many times. This is probably the least I've listened to a Maiden record or the next one. But El Dorado was okay. Mother Mercy was okay. I kind of don't really even like the sound on this record very much. It kind of like I don't know. I think it's okay. It's not great. As the some kind of monster Lars thing said there, some of it's a bit stock. But in 2010, we did the Heavier Than Metal EP, and this is where the ego was strong. So, drinking and stuff. So I remember when it came out, I listened to it a couple times, and it didn't do a whole lot for me. But that may have been because I was so distracted. We were all trying to be cool back then. So, but the album's okay. Like, it's not like a bad record. It's not like Metallica's Reload and Load or something there. It's nothing like that, or some kind of monster there. But also, one thing I didn't like, now that I think about it, is that maybe when I said some kind of monster, I thought about the snare. I don't really like the snare in this one too. It's like kind of too high pitched for me. I don't know. Like, I know I usually like the sound of Maiden records, but I remember kind of thinking like, oh man, I kind of don't like it. Just when there's like a high frequency snare, I kind of like, I get iffy. Like, it's hard for me to get into stuff. Like, I kind of like my favorite snare ever is Slayer's Show No Mercy. Show No Mercy snare. It sounds like a fucking punch. It sounds like a doof. And I just thought it was so fucking awesome. It was so amazing. It's almost like a Duke Nukem snare or something. And but anyways, this album was okay. It exists. They did all right. It's not a bad album, but it's still Iron Maiden, and that's why my whole little thing going on about why Iron Maiden is the best band ever. Because they were always Iron Maiden. It's almost like a metal version of AC/DC, AC/DC stayed AC/DC, and Iron Maiden stayed Iron Maiden. So I really appreciate that. 2010, I think the whole metal resurgence thing was coming back. I bet you, had I seen them in 2010, that concert ticket would have went from $30 to 150 pretty quick. But I mean, not that it has anything on them, because despite Iron Maiden, aside from like selling shirts for $60, that's I don't know what the hell that's all about. There, no T-shirt ever is worth that much money. But Iron Maiden, the guys in the band have always maintained a very cool attitude, I think, and a very laid back attitude. And I think that I should have paid more attention to their attitudes when I was in 2010. But that's yeah, that's all I got for this record. So the Book of Souls, um, it's okay. It's not bad. It's not a bad record. It's a bit much. I think it's a bit much. It's like you're some parts. I think like it's like almost like you were trying to do some Powerslave stuff, especially with the song lengths. Um, it's okay. I think it just was like, man, if you're gonna write like an 17, 18 minute song, I think you did it really well with Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner, but I was not into that one, which was that Empire of the Clouds. I'm not super into it. I don't know. Was not huge on this album, but still Iron Maiden. That's still Iron Maiden. And Speed of Light was a good song. I liked that track. And the Red and Black, there was this cool. One thing I really remember much, like so much that stood out for me in the Red and Black was him singing along to the guitar. I just liked the lead going on with his voice, and I liked the melody. I thought it was cool. But it's an okay song though. But Death or Glory, I liked. Death or Glory was actually a good song. Kind of reminded me of like, almost reminded me of Back in the Village, like a toned down Back in the Village. And I know, yeah, that was just that Death or Glory is the only song I will really listen to off, like not often, but if coming on in a mix or something like that, that would be the track that I would listen to. If you said pick a song off that album, I'd pick that song. Tears of a Clown, I know I heard was um, I keep on fucking up these things here. Tears of a Clown, Robin Williams. That's what I thought it was about. And that's a whole other topic, I think. Yeah, definitely a whole other topic. But these last, I'm sorry to say, like going over these last four records, there's not much of a huge impact. I think the early stuff is really the stuff that was the prime stuff for me, and up to Brave New World. But there's always the occasional track that I think stands out, and this one was Death or Glory. I said Tears of a Clown. I'm not a huge fan of the song, but it was a it was a strong topic to write about. Obviously, if that's what it was about. I mean, that's what I was read somewhere or heard. I don't know. But that's all I have on this record, and I actually have not listened to the new record yet. Shinjitsu. I haven't listened to it. I heard the last the two singles that they released at first, and I wasn't really into it. Um, just being honest, I love Iron Maiden, but it doesn't mean I'm gonna love every single thing that they do. I'm still proud of them for doing their thing, especially at this point. And Bruce Dickinson can still sing. And that's very shit. I can barely sing. I'm only 35. He can still sing now. And man, what a fucking champ. What a goddamn champion. The guy's a champ. The whole band is just a bunch of champs. Those guys are, I would say, the most honorable heavy metal band ever. I think there's no doubt about that, to me. And so I haven't listened to the new record yet. I'm going to. I don't know. I was not huge in the other songs, and I just haven't got around to it. I still will, but I felt like I didn't want to listen to it right now and then review it right. I just thought it was weird, because I'm like I said, I'm just kind of blabbing on about this stuff. So that's pretty much my experience with Iron Maiden. I don't know why. Once again, I don't know why I made the video. I just sitting around, got the camera thing set up and stuff, and I thought, man, I fucking love shooting the shit about Maiden and music in general. If you happen to watch this whole thing, I don't know why you did. You made it all the way to the end. So, I don't know. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. There's only a handful of bands that I would really feel like strongly about talking about. But as I said, I have no idea why we did this. Just thought it'd be fun to ramble on about them for a bit to a little tiny camera that I bought for like $50 or something. And that's Iron Maiden. I still will argue in any sense that Iron Maiden is the best heavy metal band ever. That's all I got. I don't know, do I salute? Goodbye?